Welcome back to Anvilquested, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Marcus Aurelius, and this is Dwarf Fortress 2014. And Anvilquested has been beset by a new enemy, the Cyclops. Sesh Shed Ataliral Mater Isok has come, a giant humanoid monster with a single eye set in its forehead. Okay, well, first step is we have to get everybody, including Adrian, inside. We have been cutting down some trees since we ran out of wood, but I believe right now, fortunately, Adrian is the only one who's outside. So let's get our civilians to danger alert. That should be the first thing we do. The second thing we do should be to organize our new squads. Well, not our new squads, but our redone squads. Let's go with Deramos, McWinfield, and finally Bumchafes, who I'm going to put back here since his squad is the only one with arrows that can actually hurt things. Now, the one Cyclops should not be too much trouble. And that's that. So when we're ready to go, what we have to do is wait till Adrian gets clear and then close these hatches, which are now currently open. Yeah, I think Adrian is the only one running around. We're lucky because the Fundorf, our woodcutter, is on break. It's been a really long break, actually. But before we go and fight off this Cyclops, we are going to profile a dwarf. Number 69. 69 is infinite. So let's take a look for him. Infinite is currently smelting magnetite ore. Oops. Okay, Infinite. Infinite is married to Young Guan Yu. Young Guan Yu is Infinite's wife. Infinite has one son, Young Guan Infinite. Infinite has an older sister by name of Elena Starbreeze. Okay, so Elena is Infinite's older sister. The entire rest of the family, it looks like, is outside of Anvilquested. They're all elsewhere. So it looks like Infinite, his wife, and sister all came to Anvilquested together. The aunts and uncles as well are elsewhere, except for he does have one uncle, Byzantine, and a number of nieces, Monkey Mark Mario, Juno, Lilu Multipass, and Elena Blades, of course, being the daughter of Elena Starbreeze. He has two nephews that are in the fortress, Dr. Quacksalver and Yan. And then we have cousins, Camos II, Mr. Frodo, Garbud, Hammurabi, Mike the Liar, Torgar Hammerstriker, Krogai II, Luptador, Dreamslayer, Wicked Man the One, and Bloodruna. Also Madame Tentacle Hammer, Crackshot, Bison, Stephanos, and that's that. Everybody else on friendly terms. What I would love someone to do for this game is create a family tree visualizer that takes all the exported data from Legends mode of all of your dwarves and plots them out in kind of a genealogy where, because if you'll notice, for example, Infinite doesn't have very many direct family members in the fortress, but a ton of cousins. So I'd like to see where the family trees branch off. Like, who is the head of the family of all those cousins that is different from, obviously, the head of Infinite's family, which in this case is Amost Evadalath and Besmar Eselth Besmar, the two grandparents. And of course, his also maternal grandparents, Delaire and Ral, down here. Very interesting. You know, I just like to see it visualized because they're all related somehow, but I'd really like to see the connections and like to see the actual family trees. I think that would be so cool. And I'm not a programmer, but it does sound like something that with the data that we currently have can be done, because we know who everyone's mother and father is, we know who their grandparents are, it's all laid out there. So at least for the dwarves in the fortress, it shouldn't be a very difficult thing to do. So, infinite. Infinite let mos shaketh. Okay, which means infinite cobalt torrid, and Infinite is the creator of the artifact Hail Sabers. Infinite is 48 years old, is an armor smith, is ecstatic, and within the last week he felt satisfied at work. He also felt pleasure at seeing a fine furnace, bliss after sleeping in a giant bedroom, bliss dining in a legendary dining room, and pleasure at a number of things, primarily seeing splendid or fine things. He's a legendary +5 furnace operator and a legendary +5 armor smith. He does not easily fall in love. He has a calm demeanor. He does not often feel lustful. He has a greedy streak and would never pass up a chance for a good fist fight. He doesn't mind a little discord in day-to-day living. He isn't particularly ambitious. He is very humble. He is generally quite hopeful about the future. He isn't particularly curious about the world, but he tends to consider what others think of him. He tends to be a bit stubborn in changing his mind and is somewhat uncomfortable around those that seem unusual or live differently. He tends to be swayed by the emotions of others, and he dislikes helping others, but he does like a little excitement now and then. He values artwork, he is put off by merrymaking, and he dreams of raising a family, which he has achieved. It's interesting that it doesn't say, and he has achieved his dream, because he has. He has a son, his only son, Youngguan Infinite, who is actually 18 years old and involved in our military, so he may lose his only son. So he may both achieve his dream of raising a family and see that dream die, all in the same short period of time. We'll have to find out. His thought is, let's make a deal. And he has a broad body, made broader still by no shortage of surrounding lard. His sideburns are clean shaven. His very long mustache is neatly combed. His very long beard is neatly combed. His hair is clean shaven. His nose is slightly upturned. His ears are somewhat tall, and his hair is chestnut. His skin is copper. His eyes are copper, and also slightly protruding. He's clumsy. Infinite likes andesite, nickel, kunzite, clear glass, giant olm leather, coral short swords, leggings, cages, coins, and dogs for their loyalty. When possible, he prefers to consume river spirits. He absolutely detests blood gnats. And that is Infinite. Infinite is our legendary armor smith, and as a result has contributed quite a bit to our fortress alongside Marcus Aurelius, in that many of our military dwarves are no doubt wearing and depending on for their lives the materials with which Infinite has put together. Let's take a look at our friend, the Cyclops. A giant humanoid monster with a single eye set in its forehead. He is broad-bodied, though weak and skinny. His wavy hair is extremely long. He has very low cheekbones. He has a clear voice. His small-lobed ears are tall, his nose is quite long, and his slightly low eyebrow is short. His hair is quite sparse. His ears are somewhat splayed out, and his auburn eye is slightly sunken. His hair is golden yellow, and his skin is sepia. So he has a large, singular auburn eye. Alright, well, let's see how things work here. Here he comes. Come on, man. He might not make it. Maybe the dog holds him off. And the dog has just taken off. I didn't know dogs could do that. Oh, it wasn't taken off. I'm sorry, folks. He was slammed. The Cyclops throws the stray war dog by the lower body with his left lower arm. The stray war dog's left rear leg skids along the ground, bruising the bone. Then he slams into a couple obstacles and then stands up. If we're lucky, the Cyclops will chase the dog instead of Adrian. And he appears to be doing that, giving Adrian the time he needs to slowly, very incredibly slowly, make his way to the entrance to the fort. Alright. This should be fine. He's ignoring Adrian completely and just deciding to enter the fort from here. And what is going on here? This is not something I like to see, and it's not something I see very often. Naki is not a happy camper. He is not much of a decision maker, but he is under a great deal of stress due to being horrified at seeing death numerous times, and also being disgusted due to miasma. So he's not doing so well. However, if you look down here in the corner, you'll notice that there's still 2 levels of unhappiness that he has yet to reach. He is just... this must be him, I guess. This yellow number 1. Everyone else is doing okay. But I'd hate to have a trained military dwarf go crazy. But let's see if our Marks dwarves, who, by the way, are not... there are not very many of them here, just very few. Let's see if they're able to take out the Cyclops. I hope if the traps kill him, that would be really lame, but we'll see. Looks like he's been at least stunned by the traps. Will he unstun himself? Perhaps. Perhaps not. He's not close enough, I guess, for our Marks dwarves to get a bead on him. Perhaps I should remove those first 3 traps. Yep, nope. We did not even need our military. The Cyclops killed himself on our traps. Do you want to read about it? Let's see. After taking care of the war dog, let's see, he punches the war dog in the head with his right hand, and an artery has been opened by the attack. The injured part explodes into gore. The war dog dies. Then the Cyclops interacts with our giant iron axe blade, which severs his 3rd finger on his right hand, tears the muscle of his upper body, let's see, tears off his false right rib, or fractures it. Then he falls over, gives into pain. He looks sick. The giant iron axe blade strikes the Cyclops in the guts, and the severed part sails off in an arc. I did not know your guts could sail off, but so he was basically disemboweled by our trap, and despite that, still had enough strength to continue on, where his artery was opened by another attack on his leg, and many nerves were severed, and then finally, at the end, what did him in was his left ear was cut off, and he gave into pain and died. That was a bit underwhelming, actually. Semi-mega beasts aren't that special. Now, if it was a dragon or something, it would avoid the traps. A real, true mega beast is trap avoid. We haven't actually, as far as I can tell, seen a real, true mega beast. That would be like a rock, a dragon, a bronze colossus. At the time, I can't really think of another one. But we'll get everybody to inactive. We'll set our squads to go off and practice some more. And for the remainder of this episode, we can talk about what's coming up. So, first of all, we are in the process currently of engraving a new pillar, because we're in a new year. We're in the year 160. We ran low on wood, and it's funny because the whole purpose of creating this was to have a wood stockpile, but I think it's so pretty and I like it so much that I choose to not cut it down. So instead I'm just cutting down wood from everywhere else. We need, oh, before I forget, we need a new dog up here. So let's do that. Let's assign an animal to the chain and find a war dog. Here we go, there's a war dog that's not currently doing anything. And we can find out which war dog that is. Actually, no, I want I. There we go. Capital N. It is this one, and it is not anymore. Okay, great. Now, we have a whole ton of eggs here that I'm just leaving for a while, hoping that they will eventually hatch into poults. We do have quite a bit of poults as well. It's not what I meant to do. Moving on down, Grumzub, for reasons that are unexplained, has gone into a strange mood. Now, Grumzub is already a legendary metal crafter, so he will gain nothing at all from this strange mood, except, of course, an amazing and very expensive artifact. However, for like a month now, Grumzub has been running around gathering items for this masterpiece. Let's see if we can see what they are. It doesn't look like we can. Yes, we can. Okay, silver bars and 3 chert blocks. Wow, it's taking him a month to get all that? Well, I suppose each time he has to come all the way down. So I'm sure that we'll have plenty of items to eventually allow him to complete his masterpiece. But that's what he's up to. There he is, actually, right there. This time it looks like he has some kind of blue gem. Let's take a look. Let's look at his inventory. He has the aspect of one Fae, whatever the hell that means. His inventory says he is currently holding a cushion-cut indigo tourmaline, which he will no doubt impart upon his magnificent artifact. And he is still looking for something else, so he will spend another half month going up the staircase back to the front of our lands. Now, our great experiment is now complete. Oh, by the way, I've dug out the last pillars supporting these, so the only thing now supporting them are these pillars that have been attached to levers. So this is ready to go. I have built a wall enclosing this space, 2 of them actually, one up here and one here. I don't see any reason why I can't build another one. Let's see here. Right here, just to be extra secure, even though as far as I'm aware, demons cannot go through built walls. So we're ready to go. And all of the spikes have currently been attached. I just don't want to try it right now, right this minute, because I don't want a dwarf to get killed, basically. But what we will do is we will get rid of these upstairs ramps, finally, since they are no longer needed. And we will, once that is complete, well, we don't even have to wait. Let's just build fortifications here. Definitely not out of zinc bars, but perhaps out of blocks. Chert blocks appear to be the only blocks we have, so it'll be a brown fortification, but you know what? I just don't care all that much. Alright, so once those 2 fortifications are complete and those 6 ramps are removed, then we can test our masterpiece, because there will be no reason for a dwarf to come anywhere down here, except for the final miner, who's going to come down here, I guess, and he will dig a ramp, or a channel in this last 4 stones. Maybe I'll just do it in one corner of it. As I've said, unfortunately none of the adamantium has gone up to the 2nd level. So there's no way to currently get any of this out without having it immediately fill with lava magma, that is, and become unusable. Okay. You know what? Let's look at the statues that we have around the tombstone or memorial stone of Gordosh. So this is a steel statue of Canna Queen Truss. Okay, not sure who that is. Let's find out. Canna Queen Truss is an is an elf, and Nafi paint-matched the awe-inspiring oak, the Cyclops. Okay, so Cyclopses aren't that awe-inspiring as we have seen. They actually die quite easily. This was by Crom the Historian. In it, Nafi, that is the Cyclops, is striking down Canna, the elf. The artwork relates to the killing of Canna by the Cyclops in the Grand Walls. Remember, that is our mountain range that we live in 122. Alright, an interesting little bit of history that I have not heard before. Now this, on the other hand, is Senam Trick Trusses, also created by Crom the Historian, and Senam is a human. And it looks like Adil Handel Allies, the dwarf, is also part of this image. Crom actually made this out of steel. Well, of course, yes, it's a steel statue. Duh. Come on, Marcus. So Adil, the dwarf, is striking down Senam, the human, and the artwork relates to the killing of the human by the dwarf in the Grand Walls in the early spring of 156. So this is actually during the lifetime of Anvilquested. This is 6 years into Anvilquested, just 4 years prior to this design. So apparently at some point either humans were at war with the dwarves, or this particular human was leading a party of goblins. But he was slain in a siege of throwing in 156. Alright, very cool. Let's take a look at our new pillars. Actually, that's not the button I want. I want K, actually, which is look at. Engraved on the wall is an exceptionally designed image of Yossarian, Traded Breath, the dwarf, and a chert bracelet by wife of Balder. Yossarian is raising the chert bracelet. Okay, so this is in memorial of Yossarian's masterfully crafted chert bracelet, which he created in 152, which is actually only 2 years after Anvilquested was founded. Next, we have an exceptionally designed image of Surreal Beliefs, Tongs Dangle, the dwarf, and Dwarves by wife of Balder. This is in memory of the departure of the dwarf Surreal Beliefs from the position of mayor in 158. But that was not a problem because we gave it right back to him as far as I'm aware. Yes, Surreal Beliefs is still the mayor. Mr. Mayor. Alright, what else do we got? This is an exceptionally designed image of Daslut Thinagisht, the human, by Zygomantus Augustus. He is in a fetal position. The artwork relates to the passing of the human in the Grand Walls. So some random human, Daslut, died in 159, so just a year ago. And apparently he died of exposure or coldness. I don't know. This is Locum Laboredbind, created by wife of Balder, and Thomo Snarled Heathers The Autumn of Rock. Now, we're very well aware of Thomo. He's been in a lot of our artwork. This is the killing of the dwarf Locum by the Titan Thomo. And that was in 128. So I'm sorry, it's not a rock, it's a Titan. Okay, another one of Surreal Beliefs. This is the election of Surreal Beliefs to the position of mayor in 151, and it is by wife of Balder. Now this is a masterfully designed image of Catslet Senses Sinews, or Sense Sinews, the human, and Sedast Merchant Severed, the troll, by wife of Balder. The troll is striking down the human, and this happened in the year 121 in the Grand Walls. A kind of esoteric bit of history, but thank you nonetheless. And this is just a masterfully designed image of a dwarf by wife of Balder. Okay, another image of Surreal Beliefs. And that's that. So the dwarves decided to not get very creative with the engravings. However, thank goodness, Kron the Historian got creative with the statues, so we were able to see some different history that we haven't already seen 1,000 times before. I'm also not entirely happy that the grave, or the memorial hall for the dwarves, is much more filled up than the memorial hall for our amazing enemies. But let's change, well, we're not going to be able to change it completely, but let's take a step in the right direction by creating a memorial for our Cyclops, despite the fact that he was a total wuss and wasn't really a great hero. He is a named, or that is to say, what's the word I'm looking for? Legendary enemy, or titled enemy? Notable. That's the word I'm looking for, folks. Notable. But I've already forgotten what he was called. Atu sounds like a goblin's name. Oozboo? Oh man, Marcus, come on. Come on, you're better than this. There he is. He's currently being held by Roque. Roque is carrying the corpse of the Cyclops, and let's take a quick look at it. Okay, Sesh Shed Atalirol. That's who he is. Come, Mr. Tallyroll, tally me bananas. Okay, Atesh Tallyroll. I wish we could search through this, but apparently we cannot. Okay, Atesh Tallyroll. He's not here. Interesting. Perhaps because we didn't kill him, he just died on a trap? But still, that shouldn't be the case. Atesh Tallyroll. Oh, no. Seshed Atalirol. That's him. That's him. I just said it wrong. Mater. Yeah, that's the guy. Alright, good. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is all for this episode. But in the next episode, we will look at our devious spike traps and our minecart. Oh, how shall I even put it? Our minecart mechanism that causes them to work. And we'll test that and make sure they work. And then, I believe, there's really nothing stopping us from cracking a hole into the spires that lead down into the unholy depths. So we're getting there. Anvilquested is getting there. So once again, I am Marcus Aurelius. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good one.